Meet Akira Tendo. He's fresh out of college, built like a rugby player, and practically buzzing with energy. He just landed a spot at a major TV production company, securing his dream job. On day one, his expectations are through the roof. He is already picturing himself directing high-profile commercials and even rubbing shoulders with A-list celebrities and catching the eye of his charming new coworker, Miss Otori. By midnight, that fantasy collapses. His first shift doesn't end. He works through the night, watches the sunrise, and eventually collapses under his own desk, only to be woken up immediately. The company didn't hire him for his creative vision. They hired him because he was a former athlete. His physical stamina and relentless optimism were the exact traits they needed to squeeze every ounce of labor out of him before his body gave out. Akira has unwittingly stepped into what is known in Japan as a black company. These are corporations that systematically bypass labor laws, enforcing a culture of extreme overwork and psychological manipulation, while presenting a cheerful public face to the outside world. This chart shows the brutal math. A standard work week is 40 hours, but here that baseline explodes, pushing employees past 150 hours of unpaid overtime monthly. This relentless demand visually crushes any time allocated for sleep. High train platform, exhausted and defeated, Akira finds himself actively praying for a missile to strike his office building. He doesn't want to die. He just wants a valid excuse to not clock in. The energetic athlete from 3 years ago is gone. He's replaced by a hollow shell who sees the world entirely in shades of gray. Long before a single monster appears on screen, Akira is already shuffling through the streets like a zombie. This extreme version of hustle culture methodically erases a worker's identity and will to live, leaving them spiritually dead while their body is still forced to function. Then comes the morning he finally oversleeps. He rushes outside, only to find the city in total chaos. The streets are overrun with a very real, very literal horde of flesh-eating zombies. But the corporate conditioning runs so deep that his brain fails to process the threat. Dodging the undead, his immediate panic is about missing his shift, angering his boss, and figuring out how he's going to pay for his bicycle parking. Then the realization hits him. If society is collapsing and everyone is getting eaten, he doesn't have to go to work today. The gray, monochromatic lens he's lived through for years finally shatters. He notices the deep blue of the sky and the vibrant green of the trees, even as they're splattered with the brilliant, saturated red of fresh blood. For a completely burned-out employee trapped in an abusive system, the